Hey, Steve Zook here. Welcome back to Pokesku channel. Hey, I did a couple of videos today. One for a really nice Alvarez 70s 5023, which is an acoustic guitar made in Japan in the 70s. Really a lot of guitar. I'll go 375. Really would prefer, like just throw the money in my Wells Fargo checking account. If you're going to do PayPal, I kind of need another 3 or 4% for the fee. But and then I did a video on this guitar. But I like to do a little free instruction. So I want to talk a little bit more about the guitar ladder system because, there's a lot, everybody has their own thing, and there's lots of different guitar instruction out there, and everything has its place. I'm not trying to say that, I'm the only, game in town, but what I do want to communicate to people is it takes many, many years to come up with a viable approach. It takes many, many years to come up with an approach to teaching guitar that reflects knowledge of the greats, and it's art takes time, and it's I studied years ago with Horace Hatchett, who taught Howard Roberts how to play when Howard Roberts was a young man in Arizona, and Howard Roberts went on to become one of the best jazz guitar players in the world, and he formed GIT, which is now MIT in Hollywood, a very successful guitar school. But his teacher, Horace Hatchett, who I studied with for a long time, was one of the most brilliant guitar minds on the planet. He really was. And also he taught my very first teacher, who was Ruben Quintero, who was one of the best guitar players in the world. He was up there with George Van Ips. And I also studied with Joe Pass for a little bit when I was young. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the guitar ladder is all my own material, but I've studied. Horace Hatchett put a lot of emphasis on chordal work, and if you watch my recent videos, I put a solo on there of Journey in Time I did with Mr. Darren Vegas, who's worked with Snoop, and he's worked with all the huge hip hop people, but he also works with other types of artists as well. But there's a lot of really cool single note stuff on the guitar ladder program, but what's going to give you huge quantum leaps is a chordal work. So what I'm trying to say is that my guitar ladder system goes back to knowledge from some of the most brilliant guitar minds on the planet. And what I did is I kind of synthesized that into my own form. It's all my own original material, but I remember even having conversations with Horace Hatchett, who invented, I think, the Nashville system of guitar that has something to do with numbers or whatever. I don't know exactly what that is, but trust me, the guy was a brilliant, and to this day, I think back, 35 years ago when I'd sit down with lessons for him, and it was purely magical. But, he said that, when you do chordal improvisation, it just, your mind begins to hear the interior and exterior movement of chords, and to make a long story short, it just kind of wakes up your musical mind. So it doesn't matter what form of music you're into if you, start doing more chordal work. That's why years ago, I'm 60 now, but when I was 21, I took from Joe Pass for a while, and he said, Steve, I know this probably isn't what you're into, but if you really want to accelerate, your musical abilities, get into some chord melody, start taking a song like, like a Stevie Wonder song, like You Are the Sunshine of My Life, or whatever, and start doing chord melody. And, Joe Pass wasn't the most verbal guy in the world, and he wasn't saying just to get me into jazz. What he was saying was that the level that your musical mind will really wake up when you do chordal stuff. So, this is in fact, I'm even going to offer, a situation with my guitar ladder program, which I'm offering right now, which is it's $4.99. You can get it right now for $2.49, and you get a 3-year membership. You don't have to rush through it. But I just want, cycle number 1. This is cycle number 1 of my guitar ladder system, and then you go through it again, and then you throw in like this, or you can throw a dominant 13, or this chord, which is just has the flat 5 in it, and it does not have the flat 7, so it's more like a major 13 flat 5. It's by doing, and then see now I'm going to completely go off. See now I'm working kind of a common tone thing, polychord. missing a thumb right now, so it's kind of really throwing me off. But I just want to talk about that, though. There is, there's a place for all the different people out there that sell guitar instruction. I see these sites where, we got 40 different instructors, and we have this for rock, and this for metal, and this guy for jazz, and this guy for that, and everything, Great, you know what I mean? Everybody has their place, but I'm telling you, and excuse me if I sound kind of confident here or slightly arrogant, there's nothing like what I do. There's nothing like the guitar ladder system on the planet. And I've turned on some friends of mine in my guitar ladder program who are already really great musicians and given them material, and they've said, man, Steve, you can take that to the bank. It really works. And it's because it goes back so far. It goes back to some of the greatest guitar minds on the planet, like George Van Eps, Horace Hatchett, who taught Howard Roberts, Joe Pass. And then, really 40 years of work have gone into it. And all the different cycles that I teach you all teach you different 10 systems of improvisation, but it happens on kind of a subliminal or subconscious level. And it's really not just about building, any one style of music. It's really about waking up your musical mind and kind of presenting the pieces of the puzzle to your subconscious mind and your conscious mind in a way that you could be sleeping and you're going to be piecing this stuff together. So cycle 1, which is like this. If you want to try cycle 1, send me an email to stevezook7@yahoo.com. I'll send it to you for free. But I'd really suggest you invest the $250. It's like getting thousands and thousands of dollars of guitar instruction. And then once you go through cycle 1 like that, a really good thing to do is then do the arpeggio. So you do the major 7. I've got a cut in one of my fingers too, jeez. And then the diminished, the minor, diminished, 1 flat 3 flat 5 double flat 7. Minor, augmented. Sometimes I'll do the whole thing like that. For the minor 9, I use, and then back to the augmented. So that's a great way to practice. Do like a major 7. Do a diminished. And a nice thing you can do too is kind of chromatize. Like take a diminished. And then double up. That kind of reminds me, kind of like a Pat Martino approach a little bit. Or you can do 4, get that augmented form like that with the root 3 flat sharp 5 and the root. So you can do that. So major 7, diminished 7, maybe chromaticized. You can come up. I go through a ton of this in my guitar ladder system, but I'm going to keep this short. But if you want cycle 1, just email me at stevezook7 yahoo.com. I'll send you this chart. But really, for $249, even if it takes you a year and a half to get through this stuff, for 2 years, you're going to be blown away at how much progress you're going to make. And it's true, because like I said, I've studied, like I said, with some of the greatest. Horace, I wish more of you out there could have studied with Horace Hatchett like I did. In fact, Ted Green would have loved to have studied with Horace Hatchett, and they would have tickled each other's brains. But Horace Hatchett was a brilliant mind, and I actually called him before he died and thanked him for working with me for a while. I studied with him when I was about 17 or 18. Then I came back again when I was in my early 20s. And I think I studied with him one more time for a little bit in my 30s. But like I said, all my guitar ladder stuff is all my own material. It's all designed to really wake up your musical mind. So, but anyway, if you want cycle 1, email me. And this guitar is available, by the way. I'll do this for $565. It's really a sweet little box, man. this guitar is available, $565, comes with a Samick case. It's really a beauty. I'm kind of surprised nobody's already bought it. And the top has got some patterns that go sideways called soaking patterns. That's indicative of a really good top. And they use really high quality wood. This is really a nice guitar. I'm not overselling it. It's an amazing instrument. Just a ton of value for $565. This stuff is not easy to find either. So, all right. So call me if you're interested. 714-548-0385. Appreciate it. Let's all keep the positive faith. Take care.